Welcome to Stoughton Media Access Cable's Hometown Business Show. My name is Steve Kelley. I'll be your host today. And today I have an absolute pleasure to bring you Sarah Resnick of Advah Designs and Gist Yarn and Fabric. So Sarah, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
So for those of you young ladies that are women entrepreneurs or are aspiring entrepreneurs, I think, Sarah, you are a wonderful example. Tell us about this wildly interesting business that you have selling Jewish ritual products and special yarns. You've got a couple right in front. I'm going to pick one up right now. So this is a beautiful yarn. Tell me a little bit about this.
Sure. This is a cotton linen yarn blend that I sourced from Florence, Italy this summer. So I have a business called...
Wait. I sourced it from Florence, Italy. Did you go to Florence, Italy?
I did, yeah. And I went to visit the manufacturers. So
okay.
I have a business called Gist Yarn and Fiber that sells yarn for weavers and other fiber artists. And it's a brand new business. I started it just a couple months ago, and the goal is to source really beautiful, ethically made quality fibers from all over the world and the US, and to sell them to weavers to create with.
So ethically made, what do you mean when you say ethically made?
Well, it means different things for different for different fibers.
It feels so nice.
I know, it really does. But
yes.
In general, I try to source from small family businesses. I try to source from people who have been doing things for generations. This is a wool yarn that is made by Mountain Meadow Wool Mill, and it's sourced from a single ranch out in Wyoming, and then it's made at a woman-owned fiber mill there. It smells sheepy a little bit. It's lovely.
That doesn't smell bad.
I like sheepy smell.
Okay, well it's wool.
Exactly.
Wool should come from sheep.
Exactly.
Right?
And so I made this sweater actually from this yarn from Wyoming.
Okay.
So I've been interested in yarn and textiles since I was very little. My best friend's grandmother taught me how to knit when I was 7.
7 years old.
7 years old, and then I kind of was off to the races from there. My grandmother taught me how to sew and used to take me down into her basement on Friday nights and let me have the run of her old Singer sewing machine.
Oh, wow.
And I quickly became much more interested in it than anyone in my family, but they let me,
So tell me about your education. I mean, entrepreneurship is very hard to do. I can say that I'm 43 years now in business myself. And I can tell you the bumps, the hurdles, the difficulties, even getting started. So let's start with your education. Tell us about that.
So I actually learned forestry at the University of Toronto. So I did not study art or entrepreneurship. But I have always been interested in textiles, and at the same time as I was studying forestry, I also learned how to weave at a weaving center out on the outskirts of the city of Toronto. And I am lucky to have just been taken in by mentors and teachers throughout my learning experience. So whether it's people teaching me the art and craft of things, or business owners, a couple women entrepreneurs have shown me the ropes, and here I am.
So you mentioned that you were in forestry, but really art imitates nature. So
it's true.
I'm sure that applies, let's say.
Yeah, and I studied forestry because I was interested in the systems of the earth, the biological systems, and also the human and economic systems. So in Canada, forestry is a big part of the economy and the social fabric there, and was interested in social and economic and environmental sustainability in forests. And don't do much about forests now, but I am interested in the same kinds of things.
Yes, sustainability and economic viability through recycling, use, and things like that.
Yeah.
So let's start looking at some of your products. Maybe Gina's out in the background. We want to thank Gina Coe and Roy Cohen. They're our background helpers, and also Leo McGowan's on the cameras. So Gina, could you pull up, here's some greeting cards that you also do.
Yeah.
So let's share some of that.
Okay, so I have 2 different businesses. So the other one is called Advah Designs, and it's a business where I create and sell Jewish ritual textiles and prints. So I am selling to people who are celebrating Jewish life cycle events. This is some of the greeting cards that I offer.
What does that say on the left? Do we know?
It says Toda Rabba, which means
Toda
thank
Rabba.
you. So this is a thank you card.
Okay, so it says it in both languages.
Exactly. Yeah.
This I really love.
Thank you.
So tell me what that is.
That's the image of the sea parting. So in the Passover story, there's the story that the Israelites arrive at the sea and then it parts so that people can get to freedom, and that is a picture of that.
And I want to say that it looks like a raven up on the far left. It says the waves go up and they crush upward.
It's a dramatic
and what is
moment.
this one?
This is another representation of the same idea, a little bit more conceptual, but the idea of going through the water towards freedom.
Wow. And so your website, do you have a website?
I do,
And if people wanted to buy these sort of Jewish, this is not so much in a ritual, but just a postcard or something, or a thank you card, they could do that on your website.
Yes,
I wonder if we can maybe pull up the website, if we can get Gina. No, but you could tell us the website.
Sure, yeah. So it's called advahdesigns.com.
Advah?
So I'll spell that for you.
A-D-V-A-H.
That's right. Advah means ripple in Hebrew. I can tell you a little bit more about that. But it means, so the website is advahdesigns with an S at the end, .com. Yeah, or you can search, Sarah Resnick Jewish, and you'll probably
Tell me
come
about the word ripple and why you chose it.
Yeah, I chose it because the impacts of the things that we do continue to be felt, right, wider and wider in communities. And I am really focused in my business on sourcing and creating products that are made well and then selling them to people who can use them for the rest of their lives in important events. So there's both pieces of that I think have a lot to do with ripples.
I just love the concept of ripple, and I don't think whether you've ever thought about it before, but it's with us. I know it's ripples, things lead to other things.
Yes.
All the time. Yeah. So I love the concept. Maybe you could pull out one of these beautiful.
Absolutely.
Tallit?
It's called the Tallit in Hebrew.
Okay, Tallit.
And it's a prayer shawl. So
a prayer shawl.
It's worn by Jewish people. So you first wear it when you have a bar mitzvah or a bat mitzvah, which is a coming of age ceremony for a 12 or 13-year-old boy or girl.
Yeah.
And then.
And are both of these worn male and females? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. So this is one of mine. So this is a silk tallit, and go ahead. You can have a look at it.
And is it an expectation that this would last a lifetime?
Yeah, or at least many decades. So it's not something that you wear every day. You wear it on Saturdays in synagogue. So that's what it's for. And so people first wear them. At that point, at 12 or 13, so I sell a lot to kids and to families, and then people also often wear them when they're getting married. I sell a lot to rabbis. This says, it says "Vitzivanu lihitatef batzitzit," which is the end of the blessing for when you put the prayer shawl on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now you had to go and learn a lot of Hebrew, right? I mean, you sound very, very well versed.
I do speak Hebrew, yes.
And so where did you learn your Hebrew?
I lived in Israel for 2 years, so I picked some of it up there, and my partner is Israeli, so I picked up the rest of it speaking with him for the last 10 years.
Okay, so you're paying attention.
Yes.
And so this has become your passion in life, right? You're really embracing this. Mm-hmm. So if you were to get like 2 or 3 things from this TV show, what would you say? Like, I hope people what?
I hope people who are excited about textiles are interested in the ways that they connect to life cycle events, and I love to connect with anyone who is another artist or who is Jewish and has an event coming up.
What's your email? So we could just, if somebody's watching, they'll just
Sure.
write this down.
Sure. You can reach me at Sarah, Sarah.
Oh, look, we do have.
There we go. It's right there.
So I think Gina is working so hard. She's going to make sure this happens.
Perfect.
Thank you.
There
Thank
it
you,
is up
Gina.
there. Yeah,
so,
and I would love to hear from anyone.
Sarah at justyarn.com. Mm-hmm. And you would also, I'm guessing you would custom source. In other words, if somebody had something, you're starting to have this like ability to know where to get stuff.
Yes, so a big part of this is manufacturing, right? So where do you come up with that? How do you can come up with an idea and a design, but how do you actually get it made?
Right.
And so I've been doing this business since 2015, just a couple of years, and I have developed relationships with manufacturing partners
Yep.
who are able to take the designs that I give them and turn them into the products that I have. So for example, this design here starts as a watercolor painting, and then I create the design, and then I send it to San Francisco to people who they print it with fiber reactive dyes onto the silk, and they do the beautiful expert sewing and send it back to me. So those are a company I'm really excited to partner with.
Tell us about these tails of strings,
exactly.
or
So
yarn, or whatever you would call them.
this is called the tzitzit, and
Tzitzit.
this is what makes this garment holy. It's what makes it a tallit and a ritual object, and it's part of the commandments to wear this. So these are the fringes, and it's special wool that is sourced in a kosher way, and then it's tied in a very specific way, and that's what makes it. That's what makes it a tallit.
You've got another one too. Can we look at
Yes,
another
absolutely.
one?
So
And how do we have to? I want to gently hold this so I don't
sure, yeah.
disturb the garment.
People are worried about it, but you can't disturb it. It's meant to be prayed in and used. So
Okay, so it's meant to be prayed in and used. All right.
it's not
Very
delicate.
nice. And you've got a nice little homemade little pouch for it.
Yes, indeed.
Zippered
Indeed.
pouch. Okay. You probably put some other stuff in there with it.
Exactly.
Your,
People can.
your Saturday morning
Right.
ritual materials.
Yes, or car keys or whatever.
Yeah.
So this is a different kind. So
Mm-hmm.
this is a hand-woven tallit.
Hand woven.
Yes.
Oh
So
my God. How
this
long
is
does
really
something
special.
like this take?
A long time. So this, I work with a really great organization called Indigo Handloom, and they have partner artisan weaving communities in northern India that they work with that are focused on keeping hand weaving alive. Like a lot of the communities there are turning towards factories, but they're really building up the market to continue hand weaving. And so it's so special. They spin this yarn and they dye it and they weave it. And it's hard to see on TV, but it's really fine.
Yes, I'm looking.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you can take clothing and go like that, and you can see little holes. It's like so finely done.
And it's hand spun too, yeah. So it's really special, really special fabric.
And the same thing with these.
And the same tzitzit strings here.
How do you spell that?
In English, it's usually spelled T-Z-I-T-Z-I-T.
Tzitzit.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Exactly.
Tzitzit. And it's a special way of tying these as well. What is it? Why is it so special? What is the attempt to make it a specific way?
So in the Torah, it's commanded to wear fringes on your garments as a way of remembering that you're Jewish and that this is a holy garment. And so that is, this is just the custom that's built up. There's different ways of tying this.
Like braiding it or something?
Not braiding, but different kinds of knotting, essentially.
Knotting, okay.
Yeah.
Good, and I thought I saw, and maybe Gina could pull it up, I thought I saw another tallit that had people's pictures on it.
Yes.
So tell me about that.
Okay.
And maybe Gina might be able to find that picture.
Great.
There it is.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gina. She's fabulous in the background.
So another
All right.
thing that I love to do is to make these custom made with photos of people's family members on them as a way to bring people who perhaps have passed on, who are no longer alive, as part of the ceremony.
And maybe with the children too, though.
And with children too, yeah. So I do anything. So I work with families. They send me scanned copies of their photos, so they never have to, send me their cherished photos. They don't need to worry about it, but they send a high resolution scan of it. And then I use those to print permanently with dyes onto fabric and to make this family tree tallit, which can really become an heirloom.
So in terms of like a family tree thing, I mean, you don't have to be Jewish to want one of those.
That's true.
You would would you be willing to do it for anyone? I mean,
Yeah.
if they want a special, like a robe or something that
Absolutely.
encompasses all of the children and their ancestors, I guess? Or?
Yeah, absolutely. People have actually started asking me for scarves with that, and so that's something that I'm excited to work with people on as well. Yeah, I like taking custom projects on.
And I would, a scarf seems like a really nice thing. Like, like if you have like your grandchildren or somebody like that. And what kind of silk would you use for that to make sure that the photos, it must have to be very fine tuned, right? Like very fine material.
Yeah, it's actually the same material as this. The same material as the one that you saw before. So it's a silk crepe de chine. It's fine, but it's not see-through, and it's heavy duty, it's strong. It's permanently printed. It's called digital textile printing. So when that dye gets on there, it is not going anywhere.
So you can wash it.
Silk doesn't like to be washed. Silk likes to be hand washed.
Okay, so not a machine.
Yeah.
So it would seem to me like a great gift for somebody like, say your wife or your mother, let's say, and you got the photos together and you made a nice silk scarf in colors that they liked.
Yeah.
That would be a unique gift. What are we talking, like, it's $5,000 or we're not doing it? I mean, what kind of money are you talking?
That's a good question. So the Tallit that I make is the custom one is $325. A scarf is a smaller amount of material, so that would probably be less, but it would, people can reach out to me and we can make something work.
So you might be able to do something at what you might consider to be for such a unique and fabulous gift would be a very reasonable price.
Yeah. So it's important to me that people can afford what I make, and it's also important to me that the people who are making my products are paid fairly and that it works well in this country. So I do not have the cheapest prices. I don't make things cheaply, but I make things that last, and I make things that have that ripple effect in our communities. So
that would have a beautiful ripple effect, I think.
Yeah.
Even the collection of the photos and the choices that you make with a loved one in mind.
Yeah.
What a beautiful gift idea.
Yeah.
So this is great.
I have lots of fun with it.
Let me ask you, just sort of just moving off sideways a little.
Sure.
What advice would you give a young entrepreneur, especially women where they may feel like it's not as easy for them as it is for somebody else? So what advice would you give about starting a business?
It's really fun.
Okay.
I mean, it's really hard.
But why is it really fun?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't find business fun.
So I think it's only fun to certain kinds of people. I really like being in charge and getting to decide things, and I like getting to make the choices that I want to make.
How different are you? Everybody likes to be in charge.
Yeah, I know.
Makes choices.
Maybe. I mean, I like to be able to choose who I work with. I like to be able to move quickly sometimes or move slower other times. And I like to know that I'm building something that lasts. So I'm not just working for an hourly wage. I'm working for something that's going to continue to grow and have value financially in my own life and also in the community. But anyway, what advice would I give to people? I would say come up with an idea and see if you can try it out in a way that's not very expensive to test the market.
So what did you do to try out? How did you do that?
So I started making tallits, actually just at my own loom, hand weaving them myself.
You could do that?
Yes, I made the first one for my brother, and then there are a lot of rabbinical students in the Boston area, and I started to get a reputation for making those for people.
Really nice ones.
And I realized, there's a market here. I can't, it's not financially feasible for me to hand make all of these. Let me invest a little bit of money to make my first run of prayer shawls and see if I can sell those and then keep going. And so that's what I did. It's pretty cheap to build a website. I started calling up a bunch of stores and asking them to carry my work, and some of them said yes. There's a store in Boston called Colbo, a Jewish store on Harvard Avenue in Brookline, and they've been really great supporters of my work since the beginning, and they sell a lot of it, and they helped me get going. So I guess I would say try something out in a way that's not expensive to see if it works, and ask people for help, because people are often willing to, to help people get started.
You just kind of put your good effort forward, and people will help you make up a distance or something. So I think there's a little bit more to it, what you're saying in terms of this isn't just a product. I mean, you're not just like, I think I'm going to sell like baseball cards, and that's what I do. But this is a passion for you. And you identified your passion and said, let me try a business within that passion. What about funding? How did you accomplish some sort of funding to buy like your first loom or whatever?
My first loom was $300, and I bought it used off of Craigslist my second year of college. I just saved up a little money
Yeah.
from my job. And I've never borrowed money for a business. I was able to like start small enough that I could fund it and then continue to invest the money back into it. But I've, had other work that I do at various stages that can pay my bills so that I can continue to grow it. Yeah.
Okay. What is your biggest worry as you move forward? Do you ever worry that this business is never going to support me, or I don't know, what sort of things worry you?
Yeah, that's I would say a challenge is to be found on the internet. So there's so much out there, and it's hard to get people to find me. I've found that when people find my work, it sells, which I'm proud of and is exciting. And so one of the things that worries me is as it gets more and more expensive to pay for advertising on the internet, how can I find new ways to reach people and to find me so that I can afford that and continue to grow my business. But yeah, that's more of a challenge than a worry. I guess I don't worry that much. It's kind of my style.
Well, that's good advice right there. Just don't worry. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen. If it's not going to happen, don't worry.
But,
That's right.
This is fun.
You have a date with stress, break up with it.
Yeah, there we go.
Right? I read that on something. I have a date with stress, I'm breaking up with her.
Yeah.
That's it. So, this sounds like a really niche product that if you could position it, that it doesn't seem to me that you have a lot of competition. If I were to go online and type in Jewish ritual shawls, I'm not going to see 11 companies, am I?
You are.
You are?
Yeah, there's going to be, you won't come up with, that's the problem. You won't see me on the first 4 or 5 pages.
Because that many companies do this.
Yeah, so it's definitely a niche, but there's a lot of people selling, and there's other people that make good products too. So.
Okay, but I think that in particular, you have this beautiful yarn that you're sourcing in a certain way.
Yeah.
So I think you're really making yourself very much separate.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that's a really good thing. So here's a photo of all the different yarns.
Thank you.
Tell me a little bit about that.
About the yarn business?
Yeah, the yarns that you see right there. You
yeah.
have all different, it seems, colors.
Yes, yeah. So this is a picture that I took in my studio in your building.
Okay.
Which I'm really enjoying being in there and loving that old factory space. And these are linen and alpaca and wool and cotton yarns, all sourced from different places. And so I decided to start up this business also because I'm really interested in textiles and how they're made and then how artists use them to create what they love. And so this has been really fun. I have traveled all over sourcing different materials and have been able to use the power of the internet and social media to connect with a lot of other artists to get this business going. And so far, so good. A lot of people are liking what I have and are creating beautiful things with it. So.
And we're probably going to be able to get this show to be YouTubed so that you'll be able to send it to everybody.
Perfect.
So that'll be good. Tell me, what does a typical day look like for you as an entrepreneur?
Yeah. So one of the other things that I love about being a small business owner is that there isn't really a typical day, and I'm someone that gets bored if I'm doing the same thing all the time. So I would say, certain times of the year I'm working a lot on designing new collections of these prayer shawls, and so that's a lot of painting and working on the computer and planning that. Other times I'm working with my manufacturing partners, trying to get ready for big orders that I have coming in, planning with them, things like that. Some days I'm working on my computer, trying to find new ways to get myself showing up in those Google search results.
Right.
And yeah, some days I'm on the phone talking to customers and making family prayer shawls for them. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So I kind of have this thing in my business where I use an infinity loop. And I have little stations on that loop. And I don't try to finish things too often. I try to push them along. And I make little stops, like a subway station, like family, exercise, something on one kind of business, another business, like here, stopping at Smack, right? So there's all these stops. So do you find that you're sort of setting your life up to do stopovers so that you don't have, it's not as routine there is a routine, but it's not the same thing all the time.
Yes, definitely. And I think, I definitely work hard as an entrepreneur, but I also am able to set my own schedule for the most part and make time for the other things that I like to do and to just keep pushing things along. So I feel really grateful for the customers and the stores who purchase from me that allow me to keep doing this and living the life that I'm enjoying.
Yeah. Tell me about your trip to Israel. What was that? Because that's a 2-year stay, right?
Yeah, I was doing a whole bunch of different things. This was back in 2006 and 2007. For the second year that I was there, I was at a place called the Advah Institute of Environmental Studies.
Okay.
And that's all the way down in the desert. And it's a school where Israelis, Palestinians, Jordanians, and other international students are studying environmental studies together.
Okay.
So that was a really neat and powerful experience that I got to spend about 9 months doing that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the favorite thing you've ever made?
Ooh. I can't answer that question. No. But I guess the thing that really set me on this path was making a tallit for my little brother for his bar mitzvah, which was 6 or 7 years ago now. And that was, got me started on this journey. So I'm grateful for that. Yeah.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about what we've put on screen here is for weddings, I think.
Yes, this is called a chuppah, which is a wedding canopy. And it's something that couples will get married underneath.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. How big are they?
They are 72 inches by 72 inches. So
72 inches
big
by
enough
72
for
inches.
2 people plus an officiant to stand underneath, and then they can be hung on the wall after the wedding.
We're having so much fun doing this, by the way.
Yes, me too.
Do you also sell the wood structures or no?
I don't, but I work with a woodworker in Watertown who makes all of those.
So you can kind of work with someone at their wedding and help set up this. What is this tent called?
It's called a chuppah.
Chuppah, and provide someone to actually put it up, install it, and everything.
Yeah.
So that makes you like really functional with all of the various rituals that you mentioned.
Exactly.
Weddings, bar mitzvahs, and other things.
Yeah, and one of my favorite things is when my customers write to me and share pictures of their weddings or of their other, other special times that they used what I made.
We just have a couple more pics to go. And what is this one here?
So this is a chuppah, and it's hung on a wall in a home.
Oh, okay.
So it's a way to show what people can do with it after their wedding.
All right. Well, we're coming to the end of our show. Sarah, I want to thank you so much for coming. I also want to thank, in the background, we have all of the SMAC team. We have Leo McGowan, Roy Cohen, Gina Coe. We have Mike Hammond, Jeff Pickett, Dave Young. They've all been special. I also want to thank the audience. So thank you very much for watching, both myself and Sarah Resnick of Advah Designs. We hope you really enjoyed the show.
Thank you for having me.